Next up is Ann Struthers, who I've been reading her poetry for quite a while and have enjoyed it. She is a professor at Coe, writer in residence, correct? She is the writer in residence at Coe. I didn't want to overstep. If you've ever read her poetry or have ever heard her poetry being read on Michael Carey's radio program, Voices from the Prairie, she's featured on there several times. You know what a great poetic voice she is. And one of the things that the Paul Engle Center has been doing the last couple of years has been celebrating a lyric poem called Song of the Cedar. And we have done all kinds of work around it. You can tell on the back wall there's the work that we did with the Johnson Elementary School for a kind of traveling mural exhibit that is a depiction of what the Song of the Cedar is. Leonardo, as I mentioned, the mural on the outside wall on the 4th Avenue side is his artistic interpretation of Song of the Cedar. It's a beautiful lyric poem. And again, how appropriate that Song of the Cedar has had such prominence in a year when the river has shown us just how powerful it can be. We thought we would close off the Year of the River and sort of close the book on Song of the Cedar by having one of Iowa's premier poets come up to read it. She will also be reading some of her original work as well. So please welcome Ann Struthers.
Well, thank you all for inviting me here and for coming. I really appreciate the honor of being asked to read Paul's poem and then one or two of my own. I am going to read a Song of the Cedar, but before I begin that, I want to say a few things about Paul Engle. Very recently, Iowa City has been designated by the UN, by the United Nations, as a World Literary City. Yeah. Yes. There are only 3 of these cities in the world: Edinburgh, Scotland, Melbourne, Australia, and now Iowa City, Iowa. And you know why this happened? I think it's really because Iowa City has become the literary center of the world. And it happened because of Paul Engle. Paul Engle began the Writers' Workshop at the University of Iowa. There were no Writers' Workshops at universities until Paul began that one. And then he had an even larger vision, and he started the International Writers' Workshop. And people from all over the world have come to the International Writers' Workshop in Iowa City, Iowa to work. And when I open up my literature texts when I'm teaching at Coe, I can often say, oh yes, so-and-so from Africa, this one from Turkey, this one from Japan, etc. They have all studied at the University of Iowa. And there it is in our literature text, at the International Workshop. And that's why Iowa City, and this whole corridor now, by extension, especially since Paul Engle is from Cedar Rapids and was also a student at Coe College, we are now a part of this. And I think to appreciate Paul Engle, we have to think about him as a world citizen and as his influence in the world, not just in Cedar Rapids or Iowa City. Paul Engle is for the world. This is the Song of the Cedar. It's written in 7 different sections. Each section has 2 stanzas and then a refrain. Except for one section, the 2 stanzas are quatrains, and then the refrain is a couplet. And I'm going to read, I will tell you what the rhyme words are because they're not always at the end of the sentence. And this way, you'll see Paul's very careful poetic construction as well. The rhyme words in the quatrains are south and mouth, and then horse and source. And he's got a whole quatrain on horses, but as you know, his father kept a stable, and Paul worked at the stable out here on Mount Vernon Road here in Cedar Rapids. He knew horses, he understood horses, so there's horses in this poem. Okay, section 1, the Song of the Cedar. A hill-held valley with a river running out of the north hills into the south. Fish from that river, corn from those hills to nourish the Indian's red and hungry mouth. Then the wide river splashes, for a man rides through the rapids on a rapid horse, Next on that riverbank, a mill for grain to be, like hill and river, a nourishing source. A city is not hills or look of place, but men and women and the looking face. Now the second section, the rhyme words are flower and power, and then years and years, and then in the couplet, force and remorse. Black walnut logs with rocks were sunk across the Cedar to make a dam for grinding flour. Later, a longer concrete dam to change earth-colored water to earth-lighting power. Sometimes when the high-tension wires go over Indian village sites, a lone man hears, beyond the wire droning from the dynamo, a stone axe hacking the dynamic years. A city is not merely natural force, but people in their love, pride, hate, remorse. The third section. This is the one with a lot of horses in it. Road and load, train and plane, and then in the quatrain, then in the last two lines, alone and bone. Then came the horses, chestnut, bay, white, sorrel, lifting their feet high on the soft dirt road. Tough Morgan, gentle mare, the Roman-nosed who'd rather kick a man than pull a load. Over the black plowed fields of black smoke meant more city building. Men on the westbound train now from the wind quartering sky, there glides with still more men the whole earth quartering plain. The city is not building streets alone, but character that strengthens it like bone. The fourth section. Here, instead of writing quatrains, he wrote a section where he uses triplets. The first two stanzas are written in 3 lines each. And the rhyme words are mill and will, and then incredibly and energy, and in the couplet factory and bee. The path became street, graced with the graceful church. Wood store turned grist mill, became great mill. Of course, he's talking about Quaker and Penford. And all done by those men with their free will. City of trade, machines, of radio, and you know what that means, Collins, etc. Signal bounced from the moon incredibly by human and electric energy. A city is not store, cash, factory, but what its people are and want to be. The fifth section, the rhyme words are decree and individuality, blessed and west, and then weather and together. City of bridges, not by kings of France or England built, but by royal decree, but useful arches, built by useful men out of their individuality. Bridges that reach out like ecstatic arms to touch a farther shore that they have blessed. They run in the American direction, pouring their bird-like curving east to west. A city is not bridges in the weather, but mortal feelings joining folks together. City of houses for the first log shack made on the spot where fell the first sawn trees. City of wood, brick, stone, filling that empty landscape with homes filled with their families. City built in a forest, now a city of trees. From a height, only leaves are seen. City of houses, gray, brown, red, but in summer's white heat, a city all light green. A city is not walls of colored brightness, but in its lived-in homes, the heart's lightness. And the last part, part 7, and the rhyme words are art and heart, night and light, pile and child. Nourishing city where meat, milk, corn, join with enriching music, book and art, and of course he would talk about the arts. Join with enriching music, book and art. Old nature gave you land, hope, skill and life. Give nature back a wise and generous heart. Give goods that hold us like the solid earth, rolling beneath us in the turning night. And character, leading that city on by day, a cloud, by dark, a glittering light. A city's future is not tall stone piled on stone, but a free mind in a living child.